Hi everyone, I'm Venus, back here with another pick a card reading. Today's reading, we will be taking a look at what assumptions do people make about you. We have three options here. Option number one is the aragonite, option number two is the desert rose, and option number three is the sunstone. So feel free to pause the video if you need more time, but we will be getting straight into the reading right now. Hello everyone that chose option number one. So what assumptions do people make about you? We have the Fool card, the Ace of Wands, the Emperor, the Knight of Wands, and the Justice card as the bottom of the deck energy. So what I get for you guys, what people assume about you, starting with the Fool here, I really get this strong vibe that people may feel like you're not even paying them any attention. Okay, you see the Fool card here. She's taking a picture on this phone. She's about to walk off this cliff. It just gives that vibe where people may feel like you're so self-absorbed that you don't really pay them much attention, or you don't really care about what other people have going on or what they have going on. Now, this is just an assumption reading, so it doesn't have to be true. And it could also be something as small as, you know, you're out in public and maybe you're on your phone or anything like that. People could feel like you're just kind of like focused on whatever you're kind of like doing, or yourself, or you're on your phone. But also people can be projecting things, you know, like people may think that you're an attractive person, so they may feel like you're self-absorbed, you're only worried about yourself, you don't really care about them or whatever they have going on, or you wouldn't be. So with the Ace of Wands here, people assume you to be someone that is, you know, very exciting. People may see you as someone with the Fool and the Ace of Wands together. You could have a bit of a free spirit energy, or you could seem kind of spontaneous or just very fun. You seem like someone who's like exciting to be around, someone fun. Maybe you're also young too, you know, or you have a free spirit to you if you're not young. Because with the Fool card and the Ace of Wands, it's giving, you know, Ace of Wands talk about potential, you know, and the Fool, just the energy it's giving, just this kind of carefree energy. They may also assume you to have a very exciting life. So, you know, even if you don't resonate with what I just said previously, people could just assume you to be someone who's very free-spirited. You live a very fun and exciting life. You know, no matter how old you are, you have this youthful energy, you know, like this free spirit, limitless, I can't be tied down type of energy, in the sense of like, I won't be confined to a box, or I won't be labeled as anything. I like to kind of just move the way I want to move throughout life, you know. So all in all, that's the general vibe, you know. But the little the other things about like being self-absorbed and things like that could be like for, you know, a few people here, you know. But I'm definitely getting that vibe. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very much getting like people may assume you to be kind of like self-absorbed. People could assume that because they think you're attractive, they think you're young and attractive, and they're like, oh, this person probably wouldn't pay me any attention, or they're not paying me any attention, they're attractive, so they probably have this going on, they're only focused on their life, you know. It's that kind of thing. People may assume you to be someone who doesn't really care about what they have going on or anything, because you're young, you're hot, you can do what you want with your life, you know. Or even if you don't really resonate with feeling like you're young or hot or whatever, people assume you to be someone who does live a very exciting life that's for yourself. Like, you don't really confine yourself to anything, and you're not looking to be tied down. You kind of live an unconventional life. Even you could be someone who's older, you choose not to have kids, you choose to travel and explore the world, or get up randomly on a Wednesday and just go do something random, you know. Like, people may see you like that, but you have the freedom to do so, you know. So it could also be that as well. People could assume this about you as well, even if that's not true. Just something about the way you express yourself, people make these assumptions about you. Also, with the Justice card being like the bottom of the deck energy, that card always gives me like this very like someone with high self-esteem, in the sense of like you have self-respect. That's what I mean. Like, Justice card always gives me self-respect vibes. Like, I know who I have proper boundaries, you know, like I don't allow people to overstep, you know, I fairly assess situations, and it's very fair energy too. So people could also feel like you have this way with them where like, if you you might not be someone necessarily that holds grudges, especially with the Fool card. You could be someone who just kind of lets things go, but it doesn't mean that you have to allow those people back into your life. But you may be someone that people see as like, you fairly assess situations, like you judge things very fairly. Like, you'll be like, okay, I can see it from your point of view, or I could see that, so, you know, it's fine, I forgive you. And then maybe you guys get back to where you were. And, you know, in other situations you may be like, you know what, no, you know, this, that, and the third, or I see this from this, but, you know, I forgive you, or I've let it go, but you know, I still choose to remain kind of more closed off or anything like that. It's just giving like a, you care about yourself, but you also have this unbiased energy or something where you're able to kind of like fairly assess situations and things like that. So people may assume you to be someone who's very fair, you know, all in all. Like, you're someone who's like, you're not a grudge holder necessarily, and you're not someone who's just willy-nilly letting people into your life, but people see you as someone who's very fair, very balanced when it comes to things like that, you know. So they at least assume you to be this way. And with the Emperor here, what people assume about you, like I said, you have a lot of control over your life. Maybe you don't have like a lot of responsibilities outside of yourself, so you're able to kind of like run your life the way that you want, you know. Or if you do have responsibilities, you do have kids and things like that, people see you as someone who's kind of like, okay, like you have a good way of handling your responsibilities, though, in a way where it's like you're still able to have a lot of freedom in your life with the Fool. But people could see you as someone who's very self-disciplined. You can be very routine, like you have a certain way of running your life and your schedule or something like that, you know, if you do have responsibilities and things like that, but you're still free. Like, you still have this freeness about you. You know, you could be a bit of a free spirit. You know, some of you guys could be kind of like, you know, like a hippie free spirit type, you know, an artist type even. But yeah, people all in all just see you as someone who has a lot of self-control, self-discipline. People see you as someone who's like, I wonder if high functioning is the word. Like, you're someone who, you could have a lot of energy, you know, like you're someone who's exciting, you're someone who's always doing something different. You're not usually like just sitting down doing the same thing every day, and if you do, it's kind of like that's your routine, but you also make sure to like have fun and do something spontaneous or something on that off day or something. Like, I don't know, it's just something here where it's kind of like you don't confine to a box. However, your life is still very regimented, or you're very self-disciplined and organized in a certain kind of way, you know. But a lot of you guys chose this option. You do not have kids or something. Maybe you have a pet, but it's kind of like you don't really have other responsibilities, or maybe your kids are of, you know, an age where you have a lot more freedom, or you just maybe have one child or something like that, so you have a little bit more freedom or something, you know. But it's giving that vibe where it's kind of like you're the leader of your life, you run your life how you want, and you know, that's what people assume about you. Some of you guys could be business owners as well, or you do really well in your career or something like that. You have a nice job. And with the 9 of Wands here, what people assume about you, people feel like maybe it took a while to get you to this point, but you're here, you know. Like, maybe people feel like you've been through a lot, but you're like at this very like more freeing era or something. You're like, you've kind of like created this life for yourself. Like, you worked really hard to get to this point, and here you are, you know. It's kind of like you figured out what works for you, you know. And so you are, like I said, with the Justice and the 9 of Wands, you know, you're not just willy-nilly letting people into your life, you know. You're very fair though, and you are still protective of yourself. You know, people assume you to have a certain level of protection, you know, when it comes to yourself, that you're smart, you know, even though people may think, you know, like you're kind of like not ditzy, but you could be kind of more self-absorbed or something like that. But then people kind of like start realizing like, okay, I think this person, you know, they're still very protective over themselves, or they're not dumb, you know. This is someone who has been through things, so they're protective. They know how to protect themselves, and they know how to be like fair in situations, you know. So that's basically what I'm saying. Like, you don't write people off. You're probably not someone who just writes people off for life, or if you do, you know, maybe it was really justified, you know. But it's just giving the energy of people don't see you as someone who's carrying grudges or walking around angry or bitter because of things you've been through. People may see you as someone who even is able to hear another person's point of view and kind of be fair in assessing whether this is someone, like how you know, interact with this person now, what your relationship is going to be like now, and things like that. So that's what I have for you guys here. I hope that it resonated or brought you clarity. If so, please like the reading. Feel free to subscribe if you like, and comment and let me know how it did resonate. Okay, bye guys. Hello everyone that chose option number 2. So we have the Queen of Wands, the 5 of Wands, the Chariot, the Medicine Wheel, and we have the Queen of Swords as the bottom of the deck energy. The medicine wheel represents the Wheel of Fortune, by the way. But anyways, what people assume about you guys, Queen of Wands, 5 of Wands, people assume you to be someone who gets a lot of attention from whatever you're romantically interested in. They may feel like a lot of guys love you, are attracted to you, would be willing to fight over you or something like that. Whatever you're interested in, people assume that about you. That maybe girls are fighting over you, guys are fighting over you, or would. Or people tend to be competitive when it comes to you and things like that. The Queen of Wands is very attractive, very confident. She's bold. You have a certain walk about you, a certain air about you. You have that vibe, so people just assume that you probably have a lot of suitors. But yes, the Queen of Wands is magnetic. She's confident. It's funny because it's not like she's doing it for that reason. The Queen of Wands is just being herself, so people assume that you literally just being yourself attracts a lot of romantic interest to you and things like that, or a lot of competition, people wanting to compete for you or with you and things like that. Like you stir up a lot of energy here, unintentionally just being yourself. The Queen of Wands is very creative. She's driven. She's passionate. She's a little bit witchy. You can have a witchy vibe to you as well, but she's magnetic, and this is just her natural state of being. So, people assume that you basically, like, you could just walk into a room and people are like, I'm sure that person has a bunch of people after them, or a bunch of people are willing to fight over them or would fight over them or something like that. Or maybe you have a partner. People could assume that, if you're in a relationship, that your partner is somebody who will fight over you and things like that. They don't play about you, that kind of energy. And then we have the Chariot here and the Medicine Wheel. So maybe you guys have really stepped into your power here. The Chariot talks about leveling up, talks about being victorious, not letting not being held back by anything, by any setbacks or anything like that. Like you were triumphant, you were victorious, you were successful, So people assume that about you. They see you as someone who, if people are aware of something that could have been seen as a setback happen, that you came back like 10 times stronger, like it's that type of energy. Like it didn't keep you down. You got back up, dusted yourself off, and you actually became even better than you were before. It's that type of energy. So basically people are assuming you to have had like this huge level up, you really worked hard for this, and that's why it's such a solid confidence about you, like this is something you really worked on, it's that type of energy. Like people don't see you as someone that they could shake or anything like that. They see you as someone who has like this very sound, solid confidence, you know who you are, you're attractive, you're that girl, you're that guy. Is that type of energy, nobody could really mess with you in that type of way. People may even see you as someone that they if these are strangers, since there's like assumptions here, like they could assume you to be someone who is very popular, or someone who, at least not, if it's not popularity, they see you as someone who is like held to it, like a high regard or something like that. Like you're someone that a lot of people, they see you on another level than others. Chariot represents that. It's kind of like they see you as someone that's like, you have a certain status to you in some kind of way. So even if you are not popular or whatever the case may be, they may see you as someone who has a certain status, and you may think, that's not true, but people can make assumptions about you all day based upon how you carry yourself, how you look, and your appearance, So based upon however it is that you show yourself in the world, people may make these bold assumptions about you that you're like this it girl, it guy, you're someone that, is very confident and important, like you have a status about you or something like that. And with the Medicine Wheel, like people that know you a lot better than that, they see what you've been through. They've seen the ups and downs and things like that. People see you as someone who's really like turned over a new leaf. Like you're having a streak of good luck, good karma, like things are working in your favor. Like people are just seeing you as someone who like really elevated and things like that, and you're doing better. And a lot better, or things are really working out for you really well. Like people may see you as lucky. The people that don't know you, strangers and things, they may see you as very lucky, and everything. They may not know everything you've been through. So they just see you as someone that's like a lucky person. You're blessed, you're fortunate, you have good looks, or you have great confidence about yourself, you have an amazing personality and things like that. And then people who know you better, they think all those things as well, but they also have the awareness of what you've been through. So they see you as someone that's like, wow, like they're really on the right path right now, or things like they kind of change their destiny in the sense like they're going on a better path for themselves. Like they have leveled up, they're doing better than where they were going, so that. And we have the Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck energy here. So, assumptions that could be made. People could see you as like, people that know you may know that maybe you went through like a breakup, maybe you went through a divorce, because Queen of Swords is a divorced woman. She can be represent a divorced woman, I mean, but they may see you as someone who has learned from past relationships at the very least, or you've learned from things, you know, you're seasoned, you know, you could be a mature person, like a mature woman, mature man, like, and people just kind of like know, like, it's like kind of like you're more powerful the older you've gotten. So like, it's kind of like you kind of have this confidence and power to you that you've really settled into with your age. People could assume that about you as well, like, you know, just they may notice like, wow, as years have gone by, this person's been through whatever they've been through, or after that relationship, you know, they really settled into their confidence and really know who they are. You know, it's that type of energy. Also, when you hit those milestone ages, you know, that can also be a thing, you know, like you kind of settle into a more confident version of yourself. So some of you guys could be hitting like milestone ages or anything like that, like maybe 25, 30, you know, 40, 50, whatever, you know, like 18, you know, it's something like that. But yes, I really get a confidence to you, an independence, this boldness, you know, that's what people are assuming though. But yeah, people could be assuming that maybe you were in something, that maybe you were in like a relationship for a long time, you got out of it, and it really like, you really like you decided to really pour into yourself or something. Or if you were not in a relationship, you know, people may feel like you just kind of learned as you've gotten older and things like that. And so you gain a lot more wisdom, you're smarter, you make better decisions and things like that. But yes, all in all, people assume you to be very powerful. They see that you're very attractive. You know, they see how you carry yourself. They see your confidence, you know, and they just assume you to be someone that really knows yourself. You know who you are. And so they just assume like, I'm sure this person has somebody, you know, that will be fighting over them, or people that fight for this person, or people are, you know, envious, they compete with this person. It's that type of energy. They see you as someone who has a high status, a great reputation, and that you're lucky. And people that know you well know what you've been through, and they've seen the rise, you know, with the Chariot here. They've seen where you've been victorious or how much you've accomplished, you know, in your life, and that you're, you know, going on the right path. They've seen the ups and downs. They see you being on the right path and really in a winning season, you know. But that is what I have for you guys. I hope that it resonated or brought you clarity. If so, please like the reading. Feel free to subscribe if you like the content, and let me know in the comment section how it did resonate. Okay, bye guys. Hello everyone that chose option number 3. So what assumptions do people make about you? We have Page of Pentacles, 4 of Wands, 6 of Swords, 9 of Wands, and the 7 of Cups as the bottom of the deck energy. So what assumptions people make about you? People could assume that you are currently in school for something, you're studying something, you're a student, you're a child, you know, or that you're a lot younger than you are, not literally a child, but people could assume that, you know, people may literally think that you're way younger than you are or something. But people may see you as someone, or assume you to be someone who enjoys learning new things. You know, Page of Pentacles is a student, so it's kind of like you could be someone who's just kind of like a student in life. You have lots of hobbies, or you have little things that you like to do or something like that, or you like to learn how to do. So people may assume you to be someone who is pretty smart, and you're like an endless student. You love to learn new little different things, new hobbies and things like that. With the 4 of Wands, people may also assume about you that you have a beautiful home. People may assume you to be someone who has a lot of stability in your life, or happiness. You know, 4 of Wands represents happiness, stability, celebration, the home. People could also assume you to be someone who is a bit of a homebody perhaps, or someone who's very comforting and warm to be around. Like, there could be something about your energy that just feels very like cozy and warm and welcoming and friendly. We also have the 6 of Swords here, so what people assume about you as well is that you could be someone who, again, like, you could be a great problem solver. I really feel like people see you as a very smart person. You know, I feel like see you as very smart, or you're good at problem solving, or you're someone who doesn't like a lot of conflict and things as well. 6 of Swords, people may assume you to be someone who, you're a bit of a peacemaker, or you like to kind of like get over things and not get hung up on it, or you don't like a lot of conflict or drama. You like peace. You be someone who's very big on protecting your peace here. 9 of Wands, 6 of Swords, 4 of Wands, Page of Pentacles. You know, you may have been through a lot, and you're someone who really likes to protect your peace, you know, and people assume you to be like that. Especially for those of you who are like homebodies here, people may see you as someone who likes to kind of like stick to yourself, you know, be at home, you know, work on your hobbies and things like that, or go to school, come home, and just kind of like do your own thing. You know, you're more protective of your peace. Not saying that you don't like to hang around other people or anything like that, but I feel like you're very cautious of who you allow into your space, you know, because you may have been through some things here with the Nine of Wands. You may have been through a lot or something like that. People may assume you to be that way even if you're not, or people may assume you to have gone through some things even if you haven't, because they see you as someone who looks like you're big on protecting your peace, or kind of like staying more, you know, to yourself, or in a comfort zone-ish type of thing, or like stay where you find comfort, you know, at home, the Four of Wands, you know, like where you have stability and things like that, you know. So they may feel like maybe you're like that because you've been through some things, you know. Others of you guys, you know, it's not necessarily that, but people may just see you as someone who's very protective of your peace, and you may literally go to school, come home, and that's that, you know. And you just have a very friendly, nice, welcoming kind of disposition when people do interact with you. So like when you do meet people, or you talk to someone, or you're out, or your friends or your family, how they would basically talk about you as being, they would say that you're someone who's very friendly, very warm, someone who doesn't like a lot of drama and mess. Like you're someone who's quick to get over things, or even if you're not necessarily quick to get over things, you will find a way to work through problems. You may be very good at communicating as well. Like people may also assume you to be someone who's a great communicator because you're able to kind of like work through problems with people very easily, or in a nice way. You know, so people may be like, that person's really good at communicating, things like that, because they're able to work through their problems with others, or they're able to kind of like lead a more peaceful kind of life, you know, or people just see you like that. With the Seven of Cups as the bottom of the deck energy, people may also see you as a dreamer, someone who's a daydreamer or a dreamer. Also, people may feel like you could basically kind of do anything. You could have lots of opportunities in front of you, and it's kind of like a jack of all trades. Like you could be someone who's good at a lot of different kinds of things. So people may assume you to be someone who has a lot of options in life. You know, like you could do anything because you're good at a lot of different things or something like that, or you're really smart and things like that. So yeah, I feel like people assume you, even if you're not. People may just feel like you're really smart, or you're quick to catch things, to catch on to things, and they may feel like this person could do anything. Or, you know, like they have so many possibilities for them. And when I split the deck, I saw the Queen of Cups. So that tells me, again, you guys have very beautiful, you know, calming energy. People may see you as someone that's very compassionate, very empathetic, very sweet, very kind, hospitable. Again, Four of Wands. You could be someone who has a very beautiful home. And also you could be good at throwing parties or hosting or anything like that. Or people may assume you to be. People, maybe they've seen parties that you've thrown or something like that. People assume like this person is really good at throwing parties or hosting events or something like that. Or they have such a nice personality or disposition. You know, it's that kind of thing. People may kind of see you almost like in this picture perfect kind of way, in the sense of like you're very sweet. Like almost kind of like a housewife, but not really, you know, because we have the Page of Pentacles. So it's kind of like giving a more student vibe. So you're probably a lot younger. I feel like people just see you as like kind of like someone who has their head on straight. And you could also be a little bit sensitive as well. And they just see you as like a very nice person, you know, and that you have a beautiful home or something, and you're smart and you're skilled. You know, it's that kind of thing. I didn't do this for the other options, but I'm going to pull more for you guys just because I was very straight to the point. And I want to see if anything else wants to be said. So you could be a brunette female. You could have darker hair, darker features, or anything like that. You could have very beautiful eyes, or an intense eye contact. You know, some of you guys could have water energy in your chart as well. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. We have Control here, and Beauty Queen. We also have Triangle here as the bottom of the deck energy. So people may assume you to be someone. I feel like you're very sweet. You could be someone who has like, okay, for some of you guys, you could be someone who has a lot of options in love, and you're very sweet and you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings or something like that. You could be someone who has a hard time making decisions here when it comes to like romance or anything like that, because you don't want to hurt someone's feelings. Or people just feel like you have choices in love in general, regardless if you want to hurt somebody's feelings or not. People may just assume you to be someone who has a lot of choices. Again, like I said, people see you as someone who has lots of opportunities, that it may even overwhelm you. Like you could be really pretty, and then on top of you being really pretty, you're really talented. Or on top of you having this certain talent, you can also do this and this and this, you know. And people may feel like, wow, this person has a lot, you know, or a lot that they are, you know. Like people just feel like you have choices here, you have opportunities in front of you. And with Control here, people may also assume you to be someone who holds yourself back. People could assume you to be a bit like a secret, like you got a like a lady in the streets freaking the sheets vibe. I know that's very random, but that's literally what this card says. It says kinky in the bedroom, you know, so some of you guys, you know, people may assume that about you for whatever reason, you know, and also I feel like they may see you as someone who, it's like, you know how to kind of like carry yourself, but maybe people feel like you have this other side to you, but you're very like mindful, you know, you carry yourself well, you know, like people make sense that about you, like maybe they assume that maybe you would be good in bed or something like that, and they may feel like you have a certain way of carrying yourself, you know, like you aren't just like being super like out there about perhaps your sex appeal or whatever. Like they can see you as someone who's just like more like mindful of how you carry yourself. And with beauty queen, you're beautiful, you know, like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like people kind of look at you and they're like, wow, this person's so beautiful, they're this, they're that, and they may feel like maybe you kind of hold yourself in back in certain ways because you know, you're just more protective of yourself and your peace. Like what matters to you is kind of like having peace in your life, you know, having stability in your life, in your home, you know, whatever. But they feel like, you know, you could be someone who kind of like you tone it down a little bit or something like that. People may even assume that maybe you have a partner that doesn't want you doing too much or anything like that. But that's what I have for you guys. Hope that it resonated. Bye.